there's 2 volumes coming out soon. Sleeper Straddle is coming out November 5th. That one, it's too long to explain, but it's very good. And then I'll be reading from House Rules, which is another, like Dawn, I feel like, where did she go? I feel like this is like, we're on theme, because this is, George said, I want to do like a British house book. And so there's a haunted house with powers, and then we all came up with characters to go there. And this is a short story collection, so they're all very different in style. We don't try to make the tones match. And I got to indulge my P.G. Wodehouse yearnings. If you haven't read the Bertie Wooster and Jeeves books, they are so funny. They are so great. Highly recommended. So this is if Bertie Wooster, who is like a foolish lord who gets saved by his butler Jeeves all the time in the original books, if he were a rich girl from Mumbai, queer and in trouble. So just read it. Now, I don't really think I can be blamed for all of this folderol, no matter what Reggie says. It all started back home in Mumbai, and if pressed, I must point the finger at Auntie Anu for landing us in this mess. I was gliding along quite gracefully, dividing my time between studies at university and a rather entertaining sampling of all Mumbai's nightlife has to offer a young lady of means, which is quite a bit more than her parents or aunties might suspect. Trying to keep my love affairs untangled and out of the gossip rags was honestly so time-consuming that I hardly had time to keep up with my studies. That, I'm afraid, was my fatal error. My failing grades attracted the attention of my otherwise fairly absent father, and when it became known that I was in danger of flunking out of university altogether, there was much righteous thundering in our uptown flat. Matters devolved from there. My dearest mother was normally the most indulgent and kind-hearted of creatures who could deny nothing to her only child. Well, she became convinced that without a solid degree I would never find a mate on the feverish Mumbai marriage market. There was much weeping and wailing, enough to set a daughter's teeth on edge and make her contemplate packing a suitcase and fleeing to the States, hoping a kindly cousin might take her in. Still, I am confident that with a little time and assiduous application of energies, I could have recovered the situation. My mother has always been susceptible to my persuasions, and as for my father, he'd forgotten the entire affair by the time his lunchtime biryani was served. Unfortunately, that was when Auntie Anu stepped in. And in the original Bertie Wooster stories, Bertie is plagued by terrible aunts. It's a running theme. She's always had far too much influence on my mother, her youngest sister, the youngest of 9, so as you can see, I have a plethora of aunts overly involved in my daily business, and she said, I quote, "Your daughter, Sripati, is on the path to ruin. If you don't find her a husband, ASAP, the girl is undoubtedly bound for a life of degradation and despair," which is pretty much what my parents were saying to me when I was in my 20s. But leaving that aside, they started parading the most appalling lot of ineligible bachelors in front of me that you can imagine, and in order not to break my poor mother's heart, I was forced to swathe myself in yards of sorrow, bedeck myself with the contents of her jewelry box, and bite my tongue, so as to give the appearance of a properly brought-up young lady. You can imagine how long that was likely to last. I made it 3 weeks, which I have to say is a testament to my character and strength of will, the legacy of the Chalias for generations untold. Finally, though, I broke. When faced with the last of a string of unimpressive young men, I made my excuses and fled to my friend Rupa, who has always been able to extricate me from my worst stories. And I'm going to pause there. I haven't read any of the stuff with the superpowers, but she has like a big horn curving out of the back of her head, which she can hide her in her hair if she wants to, but she mostly doesn't. And she has the power of being able to find things, and then she ends up in this house, married to this lord, and then, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of sleeping around and like locked doors running around in the middle of the night stuff, and it's just very, very silly. So, thank you.